Hi guys, welcome to Weekly Wrap Up, where I talk about what I've read, what I'm reading, what I will read, and a bunch of other random nonsense that I very much appreciate you taking the time to listen to and hopefully not hating too much. So let's talk about what I've read this week. Starting with Solo Leveling Volume 10. This is a manga, well, more specifically a manhwa because it's out of Korea instead of Japan. It follows Jinwoo Sung, who is a dungeon hunter. He started out as a pretty bad dungeon hunter. He was the worst. Let's keep it simple. He was pretty bad. And he had an incident where he was reborn and was given new abilities and became one of the most powerful dungeon hunters in the world. Now, this takes place in a world where dungeons are appearing across the world and they're different levels. And they require dungeon hunters to go in and clear them out so they can be closed before time runs out and the inhabitants of the dungeon, the monsters, rush out into our world. If you are a fan of Dungeon Crawler, Carl, or Cradle, this might be something you're interested in. Japan and Korea have been doing these isekai progression lit RPGs for decades, and they've pretty much perfected it. This is one of my favorite mangas of all time. It's really well done. Like I said, if you like Dungeon Crawler Carl or Cradle, you might like the ideas behind this. Except this is much more serious. There's not really any humor. It's not done for laughs. It's very serious in its approach to the story. Also, one aspect that might be problematic is most manga are done in black and white, except for a couple pages. This one's done in color with real heavy paper, real high quality work, great art, fantastic art, good fun story, a little bit brutal, but because it is done much higher quality, the cost is higher. Whereas a regular manga can cost you between $9 and $13. This one will probably cost you between 16 and 20, depending where you buy it. But like I said, you're getting much higher quality. You're getting the color ink and everything for it. So it's up to you what the worth is, but it's a really good story. Really enjoy it. And it's something I'm going to keep continuing. I look forward to getting when it comes out. I've also read The Suicide Motor Club by Christopher Buehlman. The idea is vampires who drive muscle cars cruising the highways of America, causing accidents to find victims to feed upon, because accident victims who are bled out and found mangled are much easier to explain than bodies who are discarded after being eaten by an indiscriminate unknown source. Concept may seem silly, but because of Christopher Buehlman's writing, it's not. He's a very intelligent writer. He's a very in-depth writer. He plots well, he writes well, he storytells well, and his characters are very layered. So a book that could come off as silly does not come off that way. I got to admit, I would have a blast with the idea of doing this as an over-the-top action movie, action book with rampaging vampires crisscrossing the country, battling in Detroit metal and muscle cars and the like. It would be a blast to see that, and I would be all for that as somebody who grew up in 80s action movies. It would be fun, but this is not this. This is a well thought out, layered story about characters in a bad situation, characters who have been wronged, revenge, and he does a good job with it. For me, Christopher Buehlman's prose sometimes bounces off me. That's a me issue. That's not any insult to his writing because he's a great writer. I just don't always, it doesn't always hit me right. And like I said, that's a personal thing. That's a me thing. I highly recommend you check out his books. I don't think you'll have the problem with the prose. I might, but check him out. See what you think. He's definitely an interesting writer with some seriously creative ideas. So that's what I finished this week. What I am working on right now is on e-form. I am reading Winter Steel, Cradle number 8 by Will White. That's the next book in the Cradle series. I keep trying to love these. Again, this is more progression fantasy. Which is something I enjoy. I mean, this is not an insult on the genre. I'm just not loving this. And like I said, this is book 8, and I keep trying because I've already bought them. I'm probably going to finish it this week. I don't have Yeah, probably by the end of the week I should be able to finish it. So that's what I'm one of the things I'm reading right now. The other would be Apache Dawn, Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned. This is a non-fiction. It's about Operation Enduring Freedom, 2007 in Afghanistan, and it follows two Apache helicopters in the British Air Corps and during their 100-day tour. This was all on my list. I pulled from my TBR game, but I bought it because I'm a big fan of helicopters. I love Apaches. I love helicopters. I think that started when I saw Blue Thunder as a teenager and loved that movie. But it's funny because some of the technology that were in that action movie, that was supposed to be highly advanced, futuristic technology, is now standard on these Apaches. And as I'm reading it and seeing this and making a connection that this tech was actually in that movie and it's standard, it's a lot of fun to see that, to make that comparison and see how the new tech's been implemented. If you're into, not a lot of people, I understand, are going to want to read, a nonfiction war story, but this is really interesting. If you are into that kind of thing and you want to, check out something about the Afghanistan war, I'm so far I'm enjoying it. I got a ways to go, but hopefully I'll be able to finish it for the end of the week. And that's what I'm working on currently, those two. As far as what I'm going to start now, I'm going to start Babel by R.F. Kuang. It's been on my list and I want to get it in and read it. I want to put some time into it and hopefully finish it for the end of the week, because I have a new TBR game coming, which I'll get to later. If you stick with me, I'll talk about that when I talk about channel updates and such. But in any case, I've been looking forward to reading this. I originally bought it in e-form, but then I picked it up, the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, because there's some stuff in here that, they're on the writing. Probably won't be able to find it when I'm looking for it, because that's how it works. That I thought would look better, be easier to read in physical form. But anyway, I want to start that probably tonight. And the other thing I have left over from my TBR game is just this Usagi Yojimbo. I think this is volume 34, Bunraku and Other Stories. Numbers not listed on this one, but hopefully I'll be able to finish that this week as well. Clear out what I've done for the TBR game, because like I said, I have an announcement regarding that. This week on the channel, I put out a review of Rage by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. That's up. It's a pretty short review, as most of my solo singular reviews I put up will be, at least they have been. So that's there if you want to check it out. As far as what I got coming up this week on the channel, I'm hoping to do maybe Wednesday, get out a mini haul on vintage and such paperbacks. I'm a big fan of paperbacks and such. As one of the some of my beginnings with reading came from. After Marvel Comics and then Encyclopedia Brown, I bought a lot of drugstore and grocery store paperbacks, so I still enjoy those. So I'm going to do a little video haul on that before I do my end of February haul later. So you'll get 2-for-1 hauls this month. And also I have planned, hopefully before the end of the week, as a new TBR game. A much more interesting, advanced, much more fun TBR game. I'm hoping to use that once a month to pull my books for the month. So please join me back for that. I put a little bit of work into it, and I'm excited and interested to see how it works. I'm also a little nervous because it could go very, very wrong in a couple of ways, but we'll see. Show up, come back and see me embarrass myself, or see if I actually made this work. So if you're interested in the rest of my life, what I've watched this week, football's over, so I'm watching a lot more hockey again. I did watch the Four Nations Cup, but more NHL as well. I'm a big fan of hockey, and I love minor league hockey. I wish they showed more minor league hockey on TV. And we did finish the Secret Level series on Amazon. In case you don't know, Secret Level is from the people who made Love, Death, and Robots, that series, which was amazing. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Secret Level is from the same people, except it's based on video games. The first episode was actually on Dungeons and Dragons, and that was an absolute blast. It took me a minute to get into it, but once I did, I loved it. But I finished that. Highly recommend. If you have Amazon Prime, these are short episodes, just like Love, Death, and Robots, anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. You can, watch them in pieces and, when in between things. Great stuff. Highly recommend. I created a little downtime for myself as stress relief to play on Steam on my PC, play a little Storage Hunter Simulator this week. Other than that, what did I listen to? So this week I actually was listening to a new band called Subway to Sally, the album Postmortem. And what brought me to that actually was they released a single with a guest singer called, the song was called Phoenix. And the guest singer is one of my all-time favorite singers in the world, Melissa Bonney. And she guest starred on the song. And so it caught my attention, and I went through and listened to the album. Kind of power metal-ish, definitely interesting. I'm gonna have to listen through one more time maybe to get a true judgment. But the song Phoenix is fantastic. I love that. Melissa Bonney's voice is just absolutely amazing. Love her to death. She's, like I said, one of my favorite singers in the world right now. I did put up a couple of videos on our board gaming channel. If you don't know, Geekslovedogs has a tabletop gaming channel. So if you're interested in board games, tabletop games, that kind of thing, check it out. Especially I do a lot of solo and two-player stuff because it's what I have and what I'm interested in, what I have available to play. So if you're interested in board gaming, you might want to check that out. And that's about all I have available at the moment. Like I said, new stuff coming up this week. Check it out. I think it's time to go do some laundry right now. Like, subscribe, comment. Yeah, please subscribe, join the pack. And we hope you'll come back and see us again. And I hope you have a good day. See ya.